Hot off the heels of his solo debut in Beverly Hills Cop and smash hit Party All the Time in 1986. Could go wrong for Eddie Murphy. Could it? Welcome to Half-Ass Movie Podcast. Welcome. Oh, hold on. I have messed up some audio here somewhere. Hold on. Give me a break. Let me figure out where my stuff is going. That is it. Welcome, sweet Sean. Go back from you.
Oh, thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm Sean.
1, 2, 3. Hold on. We'll give it a shot.
Uh-oh. What's going on?
There we go. All right. I figured out where all the problems going. And, of course, Bruce Leslie.
Hello, everyone.
Sorry. My goodness gracious. I had so many weird windows open here and everything. We didn't know what the heck was going on. Well, welcome back, Dirty Babies. It's time for another HMP here, a show where we put together half-ass theme as an excuse to watch movies. Now, this week, everybody, we are covering Eddie Murphy movies in the 80s. See how I just kind of go around it as best I can? I'm not trying to get the alliteration just on the point with everything, because why not? Last week we talked about trading places and everything, so we decided, hey, let's keep on going into this next Eddie thing. He's in his own movie at this point and everything, but we'll see if this, because we're not into the point yet in his career where we're actually writing things for Eddie at this point. As we kind of said last week, he's kind of taking things as they're given to him and kind of Eddie Murphy-izing everything, as it were, right?
This movie is basically, this movie was originally written for Mel Gibson, and Mel Gibson turned it down. And so the studio execs were like, hey, why don't we try this again with Eddie Murphy? Let's throw him in there. We'll do a couple of rewrites and let's see how it goes. And they were very successful.
You know, every now and then, if you just kind of put that guy in it at that particular moment and everything, they did okay.
Right.
Yes, I think that this is probably getting real close, though, to the era when movies are written for Eddie, because we're only a couple of years ahead of Coming to America at this point, right?
Yeah, I think it was after this one where they were like, we need to kind of put Eddie first in all of these, and maybe we'll get a better result out of it and everything. And I think that they did. We'll talk about all that stuff coming up, though. But before we do, we want you guys to jump on over and head over to the YouTube, man. YouTube or Twitch or Kick. We are all over the place. And if you are one of the people that are listening to us and watching us right now, please give a like on, thumbs up on this kind of thing and everything, because we need more of that. The more of you that are here and watching this stuff and everything and doing the comments and whatnot, we'll talk about all those in the show and whatnot. Also, we got Manver up in here already with some comments and stuff. So here we go. So we appreciate all that. And of course, you can always drop a super chat and put in for some Fortress bucks and everything. We'll really appreciate that. And of course, read those at the end of the show as well. And any other little fun comments that we might have here along the way as well. So thank you guys all for that. And of course, drop us an email, halfassmoviepod@gmail.com. We'd really appreciate that. Hey, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but a couple weeks back, I kept talking about how Mark Maron doesn't care about people, and we are the ones that care about everybody.
Okay.
Not for nothing, but Mark Maron just decided to quit podcasting. I'm not saying that I did it, but
him down.
I'm just saying that's what those are the events, and that's with the way they happen. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
It also could be said that the man did it forever. I mean, how long was he doing it for? 15 years?
15.
Very long time.
And, like he's basically, I mean, he's got a crew behind him, but he's basically doing all of this himself. Originally, he was doing 90% of it himself. Yeah. And, he was like, you know what, he was much older than we were when we started too. So like, you got to think the man's probably in his like mid to late 60s at this point. Like it's probably a good time to pull that shoot.
I just thought he ran out of people. It's an interview show. Eventually you're like, I've already talked to everybody I can stand.
Hey, listen, he did, like, once he finally started going beyond comics and stuff like that, I don't want to say it was over, but I was just like, oh, they definitely need to start reaching out and stuff like, well, you can only have, this comic on like 4 times before we start going like, who's got a movie coming out this week?
I mean, there's basically 200 comics altogether that you could interview that are worthy of interviewing. So you got to think that probably, I mean, he went as far as you can possibly go by interviewing comedians. That guy.
Did he ever do a Cat Williams? Because he really gets you some podcast ratings.
I don't know.
That straight head.
I can't imagine Cat Williams going on Mark Maron. I'll just say that right
I tell you what, Mark Maron, I don't want to have to hear none of it from you.
That's the episode that'll be his like reunion tour episode.
Yeah, when he's coming back for one more time.
One last Mark Maron.
Again, thank you for YouTube comments and stuff like that. Our top YouTube comment came today, and I had to take a screen grab of this and everything because I knew that you guys would be like, Adam made this up and everything, but here it is. This guy is so sexy to me, and he's hilarious. I watched this video over and over. Plus, I've used all of his tips that I could make movie theater style popcorn in minutes now. This is the video everyone should see. It's perfect.
Did you write that video, Sean? Or did you write that comment, Sean?
There's not a single curse word in there. No.
So if you want to be like this awesome person and just write horribly incorrect things on the internet, why not? You know, have at it. I don't really care. I appreciate you all so much.
Well, first of all, Adam, as I have stated to you many times before on and off air, there is nothing better than losing 150, 200 pounds to really help your psyche, and then also strangers on the internet saying the same. Like, it doesn't get much better than that.
We'll be tooting the horn for a couple of days here. There's no doubt about that one. I'm like,
there's no sweeter validation than the anonymous internet person.
Amen to that.
It's like I told you guys that when I was in that grocery store line and the cashier was like, "How old are you?" Like she's an African American lady. She's like, "How old are you?" And I said, I gave her my age. She goes, "You look like a man." And I ate off of that for like 2 weeks. So I totally understand what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
You look like a man. And I like just kept hearing that over and over and over in my head for like 2 weeks.
I do look like a man.
Thank you. Thank you, stranger. Thank you.
I do like there are situations you buy medicines, you buy like nose spray. It's crazy, but you have to be ID'd for things other than cigarettes and alcohol these days. And every time I get ID'd, I can't help but say, "You got me. You busted me. I'm only 17. I thought I could get away with it. Please don't call my mom."
It is also bad when they just go like, "No.
ID, here's my smallpox vaccine, bastard."
The little scar right there. You should give me my discount now. All righty. Today's movie is The Golden Child. Bruce, you picked this one any particular reason, or was it just the one of the few that was in the running?
I picked it for a couple of reasons. Number one, I saw it in the movie theater. So whenever there's a movie I've seen in the theater that's from way back in the day when I didn't get to go to the theater a lot, I like to cover those here on the show. And then the second reason is, to me, and I might be off base here, I might not be in tune with the rest of the world, but this felt like kind of almost a forgotten movie. I don't hear people talk about it a lot. So I thought it was something I remembered liking when I was young. It's got Eddie Murphy in it. I have never rewatched it, so why not rewatch it and see if it holds up? Maybe we introduce some people to the movie who weren't familiar with it. Maybe everybody already knows about this movie and has an opinion, and I'm the outlier, but I thought it might be an interesting one.
There's also the fact that you kind of can't do an 80s Eddie retrospective without this movie, because this is really the first movie where, like, it's not just the premise behind the movie. It's literally Eddie Murphy is the reason why you're going to see this movie.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy. Yeah, you don't see it on The Golden Child. You're not going to see it on the premise of it. You're going to see this comedy movie because Eddie Murphy is in it.
I mean, his head is bigger than the title of the movie.
I also wanted to avoid going into sequel territory, so I thought this was a safe one instead of another 48 hours.
Yeah.
Oh man, you don't want to you don't want to do that one, Bruce. And
I've never seen it.
And I think it's 1990, that movie.
Yeah, that one's just out shy of the of the coverage.
Thank goodness for the decades.
That's a very, very bad movie.
Well, let's get into it, fellas. Here is the IMDb plot line for The Golden Child. As we all know, IMDb 100% correct in everything they say and or do. A private detective specializing in missing children is charged with the task of finding a special child from the dark when forces want to the dark forces want to eliminate. I should learn how to actually read. This is written by Dennis Feldman, who did just one of the guys in Species in 1995 and Virus in 1999. It was directed by Michael Ritchie, who directed Downhill Racer, Prime Cut, The Candidate, The Bad News Bears, you've heard of that movie, and Fletch, but unfortunately also Fletch Lives. And I got a little bit scared, though, because I'll be honest with you. I saw that Michael Ritchie died in New York City in 2001.
New York City?
It was in 2001, and I was like, oh, no. And then it was April 2001, so I was like, okay, good. This is starring Eddie Murphy, Charles Dance, Charlotte Lewis, Victor Wong, Randall Tex Cobb, James Hong, Frank Dr. Claw Welker, and J.L. Raitt, as the Golden Child herself. Like I said, I had not seen this movie. I think maybe like you see a couple of bits on WJCY or one of the kind of other, TBS-esque sort of stations and stuff like that. But I don't think I'd ever actually seen this movie.
I got to circle back real quick to something you said, Adam, because it shook me a little bit. You said is the Golden Child a boy or a girl?
It's a girl. So in the movie it's a boy, but in reality, it's played by a lady.
Right.
Okay, because I thought, did I miss something? Because I saw a little bald-headed stinker and I thought it was a boy.
No. It's a lady because she's older than you think, playing a little boy.
I did read that she was 22 years old at the time of production.
That would be amazing. This is her now.
She passed away this year.
This was
shot not yesterday.
I thought you set up a cam in her house and she was going to talk to us. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the Golden Child herself.
So a very different show.
So the thing about Michael Ritchie, the director of this movie, is that I think the reason why he might have been brought in is because he is an actor's director, right? So what he is best known for are comedies like The Bad News Bears, because he has patience behind the lens, right? Like things like that. However, his secondary career as a director is he works with Chevy Chase 3 separate times. That is not something I don't think anyone else can claim.
That belongs in a record book.
He works with him on Fletch. He works with him on Fletch Lives, and then he works with him on Cops and Robertsons. So this is a guy who must have had the most patience of anyone ever. And I'm not saying that he needed it for Eddie Murphy, but Eddie Murphy probably could have used like a nice, like gentle hand behind the camera, because there is a lot riding on Eddie Murphy on this movie. And so to have someone like a Michael Ritchie behind the camera is probably a really good bet.
Yeah, somebody that's competent and can put together something that I think, and he also came from early in his career, the world of television and stuff like that. So my guess is he's also a guy who can get stuff really done on time.
Right.
I don't really know a whole lot about the director other than he just, to me, sort of seems like a guy, you pay him to do the job, he does a competent job and goes on to another job. So like just a gun for hire kind of thing almost.
He's also, though, like he can shoot comedy really well. Like, we just had our top 5 list on Patreon this week of top 5 movies that we loved as kids that as adults we see they suck. There is a movie on that list that I did not put on because I have not seen it because I am afraid to see it as an adult. And this is the movie The Scout. I loved that movie so very much as a younger man. It's got Brandon Fraser in it, and he plays a pitcher that Albert Brooks has to try to convince to play for the New York Yankees. And it, as a kid, was just an amazing movie. I do not want that movie to be something awful, because I remember thinking to myself, and keep in mind, like Encino Man had already come out and things like that. But I was like, Brandon Fraser, that guy's going to be a huge star.
And then,
And then, you know, the special connection that you and I have, Sean, with our love for Heaven Can Wait. I will never watch that movie as an adult because it's just too magic in my mind.
I've seen it as an adult. The reasons to like it are very different now than from when you were a kid. The magic of that movie is gone, but the 70s-ness of that movie are still so like front and center of frame that it's fun to watch for that reason. But I understand what you mean.
I was an elementary school kid who had to go out to my grandparents' house and play all by myself. And I would pretend I was in Heaven Can Wait, and I would like act out the movie alone. What a lovely childhood.
people are playing G.I. Joe. He's like, I'm playing Heaven Can Wait.
Too bad Vandiver wasn't in my neighborhood. He said he liked that movie as a kid too.
Well, he is talking about The Scout.
Yeah, the Scout is the one we're talking about.
I'm way behind then.
So by the way, when I was watching this thing, we're open up and kind of like it was nice of them to put present day to make sure that we didn't realize that this was, you know, not present day and everything. But we see a puppet show, and I wondered while I was watching this, have you ever seen, not counting like, you know, your Avenue Q stuff like that, but have you ever been to like a puppet show that's not sucked?
Oh, I went to a pretty good one at a daycare I was at in like 82, if I'm going to guess the year. I was very young, but they did this really elaborate marionette style puppet show of the Jungle Book. It had to be from like a university or something, because this thing was sharp. And I say to like the daycare took us to the college library or something, and a bunch of kids were watching it. And wow, that was the one puppet show that I remember that I really thought was worth the price of admission, which was nothing. But any other puppet show,
this was worth that free puppet show money.
Any other puppet show was definitely not put on by professionals. If I saw it,
I want
to just a way to lure me into a strange man's apartment.
I want to tell you that there is something that I learned from a puppet show a couple years, a couple years ago, a long time ago, is that I was watching this puppet show, and it was in Dallas, Texas, and the puppet show, they did something that I had never seen before, which is that like the puppets are cute for the kids, but what the puppets are saying are for the adults, which, you know, is kind of the secret sauce to it. And everything was like local references. So like one puppet would say something like, I can't help it. I can't get this job done fast enough. I'm really slow. And the other puppet would say something like, oh, you must be an Aggie. And all the parents in the audience started laughing. And I was like, let's keep that in mind for later. And so I literally just like filed that away as an idea for later. And little did I know I would be using it much, much later in my comedy career of like, you have to have regional references when you are somewhere in order to let them know that you know where you are. And it was so fascinating to me that I stole that idea from a puppet show. it was something where like, so like when you see like what this kid was watching for the Golden Child, like he was way too happy about that puppet show, but I'm going to guess that there wasn't a whole ton of entertainment. It's like that John Mulaney joke of like, can you believe that people used to go down to the harbor and wave goodbye to ships because there was nothing else to do? Like that's literally what's probably happening here.
We used to have sort of like lame sketch things about, I think they were religious. This is when public schools would still like, hey, a church wants to keep our kids out of our hair for an hour. They can do anything they want to them. But they would come in and try to make like the sketch comedy joke where they would find out like the name of the principal or the third grade teacher or something at the school. And, you know, like they would just insert Mr. whatever's name here. So I kind of picked up on the importance of that regionalness because I thought, wow, they know the name of our principal. How could they possibly?
Local jokes get you local work, everybody.
It's true.
You work all around town with this one. I do think that more of these kids and stuff do need to be kidnapped in claw machine type things.
Man, what a great prop. What an awesome prop, man.
I love the person who thought of that, because I don't think I've seen that before or since, and it was a great way. Like, how do you capture somebody you can't touch? That was a good idea.
So is it okay if we jump around a little bit?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to bring up is when you first see Eddie Murphy in this movie, right? So the opening scene of Eddie Murphy, and he's walking through disgusting East LA, which still disgusting to this day. Great job, LA. Wonderful city, everybody. Visit LA. It sucks. Don't ever go there.
It's male.
It is the worst. Anyway, he's walking through East LA, and he goes by one of the two jokes that I remembered from this movie from when I was a kid. He's walking by that one guy who's reading a magazine called Chunky Asses.
Yes.
By the way, that was my opening joke. That if the stream didn't get screwed up, was he was on the cover. He was a 5-time cover model of Chunky Asses, Bruce Leslie. That was the joke that was supposed to be in the show earlier today.
Me and Arsenio Hall, we were neck and neck for who would get the most.
So for the most part, this movie is Eddie, again, that note of Eddie being funny, like all throughout the script. But with that particular setup, clearly they had to have that written in the script because they have the prop of Chunky Asses, right? Mm-hmm. So like it's kind of surprising to see, like, he's not just like flying off the cuff at this. Like, this is something that he probably wrote into the script, like on a pass at some point. Like,
they came in and just go like, what do you want the cover of this magazine to be? And he just goes, well, I have this idea.
Right.
Some of the tags after the initial joke did feel pretty spontaneous, whether they were or not. It's good acting.
And I think they are. I think that there's probably like, let's do another take of that. Let's do another take of that, Eddie. I think there's probably a lot of that happening in this movie. But my biggest question about the magazine Chunky Asses is, where do you get the photo for that?
You got to make that. You've got to say, okay, art department, get over here. Who do you either like or dislike the most, depending on their opinion of Chunky Asses?
But I mean,
and you just take it from there.
But I mean, the photo on Chunky Asses is a big lady, like on the cover, wearing like lingerie, bending over. So like, how do you get that model to model for that? Is my
okay. Let me suspect. Can I give you?
Please.
Okay, so I suspect that in 1986, you just put out an ad. We're making a big Hollywood movie, and we need someone with a chunky ass. And you got a line around the block. I think that all you do is say, we need to take a photo of a really chunky ass for a prop in a movie, and people just are that hungry. Like, literally and figuratively.
Dear Mom, I'm in movies. Things are great.
It won't show my face, will it?
Listen, I think that was probably just sourced from another place. I don't think that they specifically did that. And here's the reason why I feel that way. When I was like 17, 18, a buddy of mine, like we were like leaving his job one day, and like he just was like came around a corner, was around my shoulder, and throws this magazine in my face. Goes, "Hey, look at this hot stuff." And it's just old people porn, and it's like. What are you, an insane person? And he was an insane person. But that stuff exists. It's out there, and I feel like they were just like, hey, listen, get that from borrow $5 from Larry Flint, and he'll lend you the picture.
I think that might have been a real magazine. Sean, would you Google Chunky Asses and see if that was ever a real magazine?
Well, that would mean that you think that I don't have a subscription.
That's one of the Time Life ones where you just kind of like, I got to get one of these subscriptions.
I got to win that Publishers Clearinghouse. I'll subscribe to anything.
It's what I like. It's my passion. So
I subscribed to normal sized asses, but they were all out. So I got the next one available.
So did you guys notice in the Eddie Murphy introduction scene, the character introduction scene, did you guys notice the music that's playing as Eddie's walking around town?
No,
it was the most "We're Not Axel F" song, I think, right? Was it a Chick Corea thing?
It is. That's later, where it's like, oh, this is another song that sounds almost like the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack. There's a lot of that happening, but when he's introduced, there is a song playing in the background, and that song has lyrics, and the songs, like the refrain of the song is, "You're the best man in the world." And I was like, man,
That's better than simply being the best around, because it's like, well, there's only 4 of you around right now, and you are the best around.
The 80s, they don't like using like nuance or subtlety. Just like, listen, we're gonna have the theme song be "You're the best man in the world" that shows up whenever Eddie Murphy shows up. Bananas.
Wellendowed Man is the title track of this song. We're gonna play it for all of our friends out here, just to tell you what it is about this character that makes him so darn special.
And, I gotta say too that maybe today a guy who's obsessed with runaway children and likes to play basketball games in which he's the only adult may not be seen as a hero these days.
All right, thank God somebody else is going to be bringing it up, because that was the part where I was just like, we need some more explanation on this stuff, because they make several points of like, he only takes the kids' cases, he's playing with the the lost boys in the yard there and everything. I don't know what the hell's going on. And Eddie's so damn small that half of these kids are almost as big as he is, which is hilarious because most of these kids are like 9 to 12.
And tell me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think he's acting in any kind of legal capacity. It's like, my hobby is finding lost children.
Yeah, no. He's not a detective of any kind that we can tell. And like,
I don't think he gets paid to do it either, even though he has an apartment and leather hats.
He's asked on the television show, what do you got to have to, do this? He just goes, like, basically says an unabiding love for children. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's it. That reads creepy, sir. It's just like, that's all I got to have is a will in my heart, and I can go out and find any damn kid I want to.
I'm glad that you brought up his height, Portress, because here's the thing with Eddie Murphy is that last week, for the last 3 weeks, we've been talking about like, wow, Eddie Murphy's short, right? So I looked it up. And I wanted to see, okay, so how tall is Eddie Murphy actually? And if you are to believe what he claims, what do you think? What do you think Eddie Murphy claims is his height?
Listen, short dudes usually claim 5'9".
Oh, I was gonna say a lot of them claim 5'11s because they know you won't buy 6 feet.
5'9" is what he claims. There is no way that man is 5. There is no way.
This is not a joke, a real serious question. Is Eddie Murphy much taller than Kevin Hart?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't know how short Kevin Hart is, but he's always next to The Rock, so that makes you look short.
He's almost like he's like 5'3", I think.
Yowz, that's Muggsy Bogues territory.
I mean, that's Danny DeVito tall. So the other thing that I at the top of this movie, when this movie starts rolling, is you see that it is an Eddie Murphy production.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was just like, oh, he's finally getting his name in production company in there. And of course, i.e., that's what you got to do at this point when you're this kind of a star, is start some sort of production company so you can get paid twice.
Right, exactly. And can you guys guess the first movie that was an Eddie Murphy's production movie?
Pluto Nash.
No, this movie came out before Pluto Nash.
Was it the made-for-TV thing, What's Alan Watching?
What? What are you talking about?
He did a weird TV movie where they did a protest to free James Brown.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's a very well-known movie. It's Beverly Hills Cop, the first Beverly Hills Cop.
That was my thought, but I was just like, would they give him that in his first kind of starring role? But I guess no.
I was surprised by that too, because I if you were to ask me, I would think this would be the first.
Exactly, he would have gotten enough heat to where he could be like, "Oh, I'm Eddie Murphy, damn it, put my name on that."
Right?
That I would understand. Beverly Hills Cop, it's like, 48 Hours was fine, but like you didn't hit that stride till Beverly Hills Cop for sure.
Right. But I think also because there is that thing of like, oh, he's saving another one of our movies. Let's give him something,
taking him out of the dregs for sure.
Something for the effort. So his character name in this movie is Chandler Gerald.
What, like, there's sometimes when you can just go, you could change it, right?
I'm just glad that they're not trying to because the last 2 movies he was in, he has the coolest names ever for for characters, right?
Yeah.
Axel Foley, awesome name. Billy Ray Valentine,
very cool.
Awesome name. Don't try to beat him, man. Just like give him some generic name like Chandler Gerald.
Yeah, and it just rolls off the tongue. And
It's
because the problem is you look at it and every time, because the name is so bad, is that you're like, nope, that's Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go, oh, Chandler's here.
Well,
that's Eddie Murphy. Shut up.
But if you give him something cool, you're just burning the name, right? Because at this point now, you know it's Eddie Murphy. So it's kind of like when with any bad movie where you're like, oh, well, that's just Keanu Reeves. Oh, that's just The Rock. Like, you don't know the character's name. Like, what is The Rock's name in Rampage? No one knows. No one knows. Exactly.
And also,
it's The Rock or it's Dwayne. Now, like, those are the two roles that he plays, okay? And they are the same guy.
And I think other than the TV interview on that local access show kind of thing that he was doing, I don't know that anyone ever calls him by his name, because I couldn't have told you what his name was.
The demon does. The demon calls him by his name often, because there's the whole thing where he's like, my last name is Gerald, man. And he keeps saying Gerald.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, oh, we say names, but like, we had a lot more fun in the 80s with this. Like, that's not how you pronounce that name.
Well,
I think Gerald Chandler would have been a better name than Chandler Gerald.
You're right.
Write a letter to the paper, Bruce.
I just might. Dear editor, I have a complaint about the Golden Child film.
To whom it may concern, you may know me from other such rants as...
That cloud was not a rain cloud, despite what you said.
Yeah, that like, oh yeah, he just writes letters to movies, not people in movies, nothing like that, just the movies themselves.
So when it comes to, like, Adam, you're usually the bigger stickler of the three of us when it comes to special effects. What did you think of the special effects in this movie?
Honestly, they're okay. They could have been a lot worse than they were. There's a couple of things where a winged thing is flying around and stuff, and I'm like, for an untouched movie, my guess is like what we were watching was kind of like the Blu-ray scan and everything. There is a brand new 4K scan that's out in Vinegar Syndrome, by the way, sold out.
You said
of all these
this thing moves. This thing knows how to move some copies, man. They never
Somebody
let up on the
buying it.
media.
Somebody buying it, and some people are upset that it's in that category for Vinegar Syndrome. They're just like, this movie doesn't belong there. It's too mainstream.
Well, I mean, come on, man. That's now there's people complaining about how it's popular.
Yes,
get out of here.
Too popular for that line. That line is reserved for movies like Sidekicks.
How dare you make money?
Exactly. How dare you make money with things that people might actually friggin' buy? You monster.
So the reason why I have a reason behind my question originally, Adam, which is like, because when the Golden Child starts making that Pepsi can dance, which is one of the only things I remember from as a kid watching this movie, I was like, hey, that looks good to me.
That is shockingly good. It is really, really good. It's the best effect in the whole damn thing. It looks so good. It looks good by today's standards.
It had
not even 80s standards.
It had a little stop motion feel to it, but I don't think it was stop motion.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
I think it was stop. I think it was stop motion.
I thought it might have been some early CGI kind of thing.
No, it would have looked worse than that. It would have looked so much worse if they would have tried to make that on a computer. That would have looked so bad.
The stop motion look really works well too for that particular effect, because it's being constructed for you with telekinesis, so it sort of makes sense. It would have that jerky movement.
Oh, that's
true. It was a great touch, but I'm also like a sucker for anything that looks a little bit like Harryhausen. So when we see
it was like
the big monster at the end, I'm really liking
so smooth, and like the lighting was fantastic on it. It didn't look like false lighting. It looked like what was actually there and everything. And obviously, because for the composite and everything, the only part that starts to look a little bit bad is just before the foot comes. But that's to be expected with the gear and all that kind of stuff. But really, really good. But the big demon thing at the end surprisingly looked pretty darn good for the most part. I was shocked at how decent it was.
I mean, that's when I was feeling a little Harryhausen there because it was a blend of puppetry, a little something else, and some stop motion. But the stop motion parts really warmed my heart.
I'll bet it looks better in the new kind of scan there and everything. If they tried to, just do good solid composites there and whatnot, I bet it looks good.
Hell looks better in this movie than the movie that comes 10 years later, Spawn.
Oh my god.
Malbosia would have been much better as stop motion.
Man, what a cavalcade of CGI nonsense.
Man.
Just swirling around in a pit of orange, and you're just like, is this what we're doing? And gobble, gobble, gobble. And you're like, what is this crap?
Hell looks way better in this.
Of all the names and things I forget, I'm angry that I can remember Malbosia that easily.
Yeah, well, you know, they did say a billion times within that and the comic itself. It was just, that was kind of nonstop with that.
I couldn't tell you Spawn's human name to save my life right now.
Al.
It is. It's Al
Simmons. I just saved my life.
I met the real Al Simmons right beside the Spawn funny car. 1995 was wild, you guys. It was a wild time for comic books, man. We had it all.
And Todd McFarlane went bankrupt, you say, next to the Spawn funny car and buying all the baseballs.
And strangely, he doesn't regret a thing.
No, why would you?
Sure.
Charles Dance being in this bad boy. I forgot that he could be so young.
I know.
It is one of those things where, like, in this movie, he could be 30, but he also could be 65 because he has that look to him. I mean, we know what he looks like as a very old man because we saw him as a very old man. I wouldn't go so far as to call him handsome in this movie, but you're definitely like, oh, that is a stage acting British thespian,
a British gentleman, to be sure.
Right.
Yeah, you just like that. You would trust that guy to house sit for you,
right?
Because he's not throwing parties.
He's like the Richard Harris school of acting, where like Richard Harris, fine actor, but no one would ever go so far as to call that man handsome.
He definitely commands your attention, though. I enjoy when Charles Dance is on the screen.
Yes.
What are his powers?
Whatever they need to be.
I guess that's what it kind of feels like in this movie. It's just like, he can teleport now. Is that right?
Well, demons do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, same with the Golden Child. I mean, the Golden Child's the same way, where it's like, what all can you do there, kid? Why aren't you getting yourself out of there? I could do anything but free myself from this cage.
This wooden cage. I can't. No good.
The combination of baldness and telekinesis, I really started to imagine like this is an origin story for Professor X, but then at the end of the movie, the kid can walk. But I mean, he sits down the whole thing and he's got the bald head and the weird telekinesis and stuff.
I do have to say, one of the things that I do like about this movie, even now on this new viewing, is that the kid isn't completely helpless. Like, they're not treating him like he, like a child who has very special needs. Like the kid, he's like, he's trying to get out himself, and he keeps trying to touch people and he's trying to trick people all the time. And I do like that about it.
It's a strange turn of events where we have a kid who keeps trying to touch adults.
But you can see the wheels moving in the kid's head and everything, and he's like, "Oh, how am I figuring out this sort of stuff?" And and the kind of like, while they're limited interactions and stuff that he has with like Eddie and everything, it feels real. It feels like this is a real little kid here and everything. So especially in the 80s like this, you're tossing up a coin as to whether or not a kid actor is going to be good or not.
Right.
All the things I remembered about this movie, I did not remember that the kid was magical.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's strange. As a child going in to watch this, you'd think the magic kid is who I'd relate to, but most everything I remembered related to Eddie Murphy. The two scenes, the one you kind of referenced last week, Sean, where he's asking for the knife and he does a little rap spinner scratchy thing joke. But another one that I remember, which is strange for how young I was, is when he's talking to the lady whose name in real life is Charlotte Lewis. So anyway, he's talking to the lady from Tibet and he's like, "Oh, what is this, a bed?" And then he jumps sideways into the bed. Back in my courtship days, I was pretty suave and used that one a few times.
Hey there, ladies. Bruce, if you could afford it, would you have had the bed that like does the circle, the turn around and everything like that, the rotating bed?
I always wanted like the old Murphy bed, but it would be sort of uncontrollable, like in a Three Stooges short. So you're laying in it and randomly during the night, it would just close you up into the wall.
Wakey, wakey, bam.
Hey, lady, Have you ever taken a spin on a waterbed?
When we first bought this house about 5 years ago, Sean, and we were looking at things to put in, I did peruse a big Murphy bed selection. They still make those.
God.
What?
Why?
You can still buy Murphy beds. I guess because people just love to live dangerously. But it looks like an envoy. And then when company comes out, boom, you pull down the Murphy bed. There you go.
What happens when grandma gets like, wakes up in the middle of the night and thinks she's going to the fridge, pulls out the Murphy bed, and, ow! That ain't good for anybody. Like, I need to go out. I gotta get some air or something like that. Where's my shawl? Opens it up. Boom.
So you guys bringing these two up, they have literally no chemistry together, like at all.
I agree. I could even tell that as a kid.
Like
and she's really good looking, and like they're both good looking people, and they feel like they should have some chemistry, but they just don't
at all.
He's just all hooked. He's all hopped up on wanting some nookie. He doesn't care where it comes from. That's how you feel.
He wants to hang out with the kids.
And then when she says "I love you" to him, it's like, well, that was kind of unexpected.
Yeah, and you want to be like, and for what reason? Yeah, do you have any?
It's like, well, I have known you for almost 36 hours, so I understand.
You help me save that little kid. I feel like that's enough for a lifetime commitment.
And like, I buy her taking the arrow because she does believe he's the chosen one, which means he has to survive. But I don't buy her taking the arrow because she loves him. She's taking the arrow for the mission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that's correct. Yeah, she cares about the kid, and it's just like, but at the end, it's because I love you.
Yeah.
And then she becomes a bird by the end. So
and when she gets resurrected, I hope I'm not spoiling the spoilers, everybody. But when she gets resurrected, I remember as a kid thinking like, I don't care how pretty she is. Once you're dead and come back to life, I'm not going to kiss you.
First one, Pet Cemetery on.
I had a non-zombie kissing policy from a very young age.
So do you guys know the online debate about this movie?
No.
I did not know there was any conversation whatsoever online about this movie.
So basically, there are people who think that between this movie and a movie that comes out very close to the same time as this movie, Big Trouble in Little China. And the debate is, which movie is better? And look, we're three middle-aged white guys. We clearly like Big Trouble in Little China better than this movie. But I could totally see being an African-American kid watching this movie for the first time. This is your favorite movie. This is the movie you saw at the exact perfect age. And then later on, you see Big Trouble in Little China. You're not choosing.
I'm going to start introducing Kurt Russell as the white kid's Eddie Murphy from now on.
Okay.
I like that idea. I was wondering if the only reason that debate even happens is because of the John Carpenter connection. Is that part of it, Sean? Is that why people even have that debate?
I think probably so, yes.
Well, you got James Wong here. He's in.
Well, I mean, it was two movies that needed large Asian casts. Of course, all the Asian characters are the same actors,
right?
But
in these ones specifically though were like two of the big ones here. Him and Victor Wong were like two of the big guys for sure.
I don't know if we've said this yet or not on the podcast. And I didn't want to step on anything you might have had prepared, Sean. But John Carpenter was like who they wanted to direct this. This was like call number one. Which would have been interesting if they got Mel Gibson.
I think it's a very, very different movie. I think that it is with John Carpenter at the helm. I think the pace would be very, very weird compared to the pace of this movie, which is like, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving.
The pace is one of the strong suits on this one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think no matter what the budget is, if John Carpenter made it, it would have looked like it was made for less than it was made for. Does that make sense? I mean, you watch this and Big Trouble in Little China. Of course, I like Big Trouble in Little China better, but Big Trouble in Little China looks like an indie movie more than a studio feature.
It looks like it was made for a nickel.
This is 100%. We got Eddie Murphy. This has to be somebody's Saturday date night movie. So, it's made as high as the quality is going to get there.
They got the special effects and stuff like that. It showed that like, no, we spent a penny on this because these, especially for the time, were pretty good.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
I like the idea that instead of Eddie Murphy, if John Carpenter's directing this, we get like the guy from They Live that fought Roddy Piper. I can't remember his name now.
Oh, Keith David or David
Yeah,
Keith?
I don't know if he's Keith David or David Keith, so I was trying to yield to whoever knew better.
It's Keith David.
Then this is definitely a different movie because Eddie, even if you don't like the movie, I'm going to say you have to respect that Eddie brings a certain confidence to his performance that I just buy. He feels very comfortable and real as this character to me. Am I wrong there? Do you guys agree or not?
I don't think that there's anybody who hates this movie. I think it's just one of those movies where you're like, oh, this isn't nearly the thing that I thought. That's what I've run into with this. Yeah, and I can speak for everyone. I think I'm a man of the people. So like when
they've given permission,
I've asked everyone and everyone gave me the thumbs up. So like like I don't think anybody really hates this movie. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, this is a movie of its time.
That was a movie Eddie Murphy was in.
Right. And you can't even walk out of this disliking Eddie Murphy, you know? I mean, he's still great. I still love him after seeing this.
As a young child, a younger kid, I didn't get to go to the theater that often. So anything I saw in the theater, I thought was like the best thing ever. So I was really expecting this not to hold up at all. I was really expecting to be disappointed. Plus the fact that I don't really hear people talk about it. Mm-hmm. I was very pleasantly surprised at how it did not disappoint me.
That's surprising.
I would say to me, I think it held up pretty darn well.
Trillian in the chat said, what is the deal with what they did to Randall Tex Cobb? Is that makeup or like he's trying to be a Klingon or something? I don't know what's happening.
That prosthetic forehead piece they put on him, I don't get it. I guess he needed to have a bigger head than he had for some reason.
He walked in and they were like, too handsome.
I was going to say, it's not like Tex Cobb's natural forehead isn't frightening on its own. So I don't know why they put all this on it. It looks kind of like the scar tissue that old-timey wrestlers like Abdullah the Butcher would get from cutting their own forehead about 50 times in the same place.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know the reason why. I mean, there's a reason why everything is a little weird on that end of this movie. It's because we're still in that phase of American culture where it's like, man, aren't Asians weird? And I know Randall Tex Cobb, clearly not an Asian. But it is one of those things where it's like, man, that Asian culture, it's mystical. It's really weird. Like that's the entire thing behind this movie. It's kind of why this movie isn't like the shot in the arm that I thought that it was when I was a kid, because, you know, tastes change. And one of the things is when you look at something like this now, you're like, hey, you're treating them like they're an alien race when they're actually just like, you know, like 1,000 miles that way.
I think that the Tex Cobb makeup and the monkey face guy and that kind of thing feels the most John Carpenter of anything in here.
Oh, yeah.
That part
without a doubt. Yeah. Yes. But I mean, it is like the other, you know what I mean? Like this movie still has that part of it in there. And it just hits it hits a modern eye wrong when you see it.
It's fine. You're a freakazoid. We'll just put you on the thing. That's just how we did in the 80s. You know, we're just like, You know.
And, you know, I will say this about this movie, too, is that there's a lot of like ridiculous shit in this movie. But the most ridiculous thing in this entire thing is watching a 5'9", wink, wink, Eddie Murphy beat up a gang of bikers with nothing more than an even smaller East Asian lady like to help as backup. I'm sorry, I'm calling bullshit on this. And when you see those fights happen, you're like, man, what are we doing here?
What do you think of Eddie Murphy's fight choreography in this movie?
I think that person needs to be fired. Whoever that was needs to be fired.
He's clearly kind of doing like, I'm trying to not do karate, but the only things that we know on camera are karate moves. He even like talks about, I'll show you what I think of that karate, but he's clearly doing like I don't think that Los Angeles tough guys do a whole lot of like side kicking in their fights. I just don't. And he's doing some of that stuff and throwing some, you know, fancy looking punches, and it's hilarious because it seems like there was a time in movies where every action star just kind of knew some karate for no reason,
Right?
And I feel like there's a lot of that with Eddie Murphy's fighting here. Plus, it is kind of hard to picture him as a tough guy. He needs to be the guy that talks his way out of situations.
In movies, it's reading, writing, arithmetic, and karate. We all know that.
You know, the thing, I think also that it's a very good point you bring up about the karate stuff, Bruce, because there is no doubt Eddie Murphy has seen Dolomite.
Yes,
oh yeah,
yes,
and I can guarantee you that he did not want to look like like Rudy Ray Moore and Dolomite doing karate in this movie. So like he had to like, listen, we're gonna cut back on the karate, and I'm just gonna punch this dude in the face.
Well, he went full circle on not wanting to look like Rudy Ray Moore, didn't he?
Well, I mean, what are you going to do?
Can we talk about the hat? Because as a kid, I had never seen that hat before.
The hat.
And then I saw on Eddie Murphy, the leather cap thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like the coolest thing ever as a kid. And now as a grown man, I can't believe another grown man would pay retail for a hat like that.
It's so bad. I hate this hat with a passion.
Is the only reason for it because it's supposed to be like a West Coast street style version of the Tibetan cap that the Golden Child wears?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Was this ever a fashion? Like, is this a common hat, or is this like a weird thing that was just in this movie?
Jim Brown really did kind of like put that into the American psyche, that hat, I think.
And he wore that entirely for hairline reasons, so I get it with Jim Brown, but that's the only other time I saw this, and I was wondering if you guys made that connection.
And those are usually cloth and not leather. Or black leather, you know what I mean?
Man, he had to be so hot walking around East LA with that hat on.
And it's not, it doesn't even look like it fits 100% correctly either. Like it's like one of those, it almost looks too big and too small at the same time. I don't know how that happens, but it does.
Is it fair to say by 80s standards that Eddie Murphy does a minimally offensive version of a gay character when he does his like gay accent?
That wasn't too bad.
I felt like it actually had a little more nuance and respect than what I was expecting from an 80s movie.
Especially from Eddie Murphy at that time.
Yeah. It was so good. I started to wonder if maybe Eddie Murphy's got a more of a pansexual tilt to him than we realized, because
don't go there, dude. Do not go there, dude.
I don't know.
Do not touch that third rail. I retract it. Do not touch that third rail.
He was very sensitive, I thought. So I retracted.
Just remember the 90s. Did you guys notice a real cameo in this movie?
No, what?
One of Eddie's big things in the movie is that he's the chosen one. So we've got the golden child and the chosen one, which is nice that we have a differentiation between those two things. But as the chosen one, he's got the knife that he goes to get. This is the same knife that they ended up using in The Shadow. This is
knifey?
No, it's not.
That's what IMDb is to tell me.
Just look at the knob at the top. That face doesn't have big teeth, like sharp teeth in it.
They probably just like reworked a little bit of it, but I like that's what the internet's to be believed, and that's I choose to believe it. Damn it.
Google knifey and see what pops up.
Do your own. Listen, I've done my own research.
Has IMDb ever hear me every show? IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do.
That ain't there
for a reason.
That ain't knifey, bro.
Listen, my day. Okay, that's
listen. Fine. I know the shadow. This is not.
It's like, listen, you don't talk about my man's that way.
You don't know knifey. So before I had to watch this early this week in order to get all my stuff done to watch this movie. And so I saw this movie free on Pluto. Have you guys ever watched anything on Pluto?
It's been a long while.
The planet or the streaming service?
The planet. Of course, I'm talking about the planet first.
I've probably watched Pluto without realizing it sometimes, because you can search for a movie and it'll say like free on these, and I just click on one and watch it. But I don't like seek Pluto out very often.
It is a great experience if you want to reminisce and make it feel like the old times of the way that TV used to be, where like there's like half a dozen commercials between the edits, like these weird edits in the movie. And then also during the movie, there's these weird like sound just dropouts like in like certain parts of it.
Oh, no.
And I was like, man, this really does bring back the old experience of what it was like watching old cable television.
You
This
remember
feels
hell?
the same.
Yeah. Occasionally, when I'm watching those streaming services, they'll deliver me ads in languages I don't comprehend. And then I really feel like, okay, it's like I'm visiting somewhere and I'm watching cable and they've got a population's a little more diverse than where I grew up. It really starts to feel that way.
Like all of a sudden there's a Spanish language thing and you're like, what is this about? Who do you think I am? Like, you didn't log into this thing, did you? No, I did not.
I've got two more notes on this. One is everyone driving around in Chrysler K cars. Amazing. There are so many Chrysler K cars in this movie. I mean, at one point Eddie's driving one. I was like, oh, those awful cars. I totally remember the Chrysler K.
They got a good deal.
I don't know what Iacocca put into the water to make Americans go, oh, of course I should drive one of these. They're the
saved the whole
ugliest
company.
They did, but they're the ugliest cars in the world. They must have been really cheap, and that's why everybody bought them.
Oh yeah,
It's like if you went to the car lot and they had a line for sale that just said car. That's what it would be. It's like
Yeah.
Lee Iacocca asked his elementary school kid, draw me what you think a car looks like, and then he made the sucker.
Yeah. Try to draw a Pontiac Fiero from memory, and it's just a Chrysler K car.
I one of my favorite 30 Rock jokes is where they're trying to design the ultimate microwave and it just turns out to be a Pontiac Aztec.
So
like, do this. Oh, we just made an Aztec.
here's my last note from the movie. So the savior of the world, the golden child, at the end of this movie is just going to some shitty school in East LA. That's the ending for this kid. Is he's going to public school in East LA at the end of this movie?
Hey, teach all those cholos how to heal birds, will you?
A fate worse than hell.
Oh man, at least he's being raised by a zombie and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, exactly. A pretty zombie and Eddie Murphy.
We even get the kind of classic, like walking off into the sunset. There's no sunset, but the horizon line here and everything. In our last couple of lines just before the credits roll and everything, just beautiful ladies right there. I was surprised that they didn't like. There was one point where I thought that they were going to freeze frame on somebody's face and then roll the credits from there, and they had to have that last little kind of coda there where they were walking towards the horizon. But I was for sure, I was like, oh, it's going to stop right here on that face and be like, 80s pause and then the credits roll. But no.
Did I miss something, or did they just straight up keep that kid? Like, shouldn't they be returning the kid? Like, he still has a family back in Tibet, right?
The monks is dead, Bruce.
They bring in new monks every day. Plus, like, his parents probably weren't monks. Like, his parents are probably still carrying people up and down the mountain and stuff,
If all that research I did reading Batman for all those years is to be believed,
that was the League of Assassins.
This kid's in the League of Assassins, Shadows, and all of those leagues because that's just what they do.
But I imagine his parents are just regular hardworking people that happen to have the golden child as an offspring, and now that the monks aren't there to kidnap him from them anymore, I feel like it's the old comic book thing, like, I found a baby, just going to keep it and raise it. Like, no moral obligation to find out who should have this baby.
Are you excited to have the golden child, or are you a little bit pissed off? You're like, oh God, now I got so much crap to go to. I wish we didn't have the golden
Wait till
child.
he's a golden teenager, and when his adopted mother is trying to discipline him, he's like, look, Mom, if it weren't for me, you'd be dead right now. So suck it.
Golden child.
Like, you're gonna lose every argument if the kid resurrected you from the dead.
yeah, it's true. It's true. You owe forever after that. I do want to see if because Eddie Murphy's been going through all of his like old filmography to make another movie. They need to totally make They don't need to totally make a sequel to this movie called The Golden Middle-Aged Man.
The Golden Gen Xer.
Oh, so good.
It's just a 50-year-old guy.
Yeah, just some 50-year-old guy, you know.
And Eddie's trying to take care of him.
For some reason, he's like a sound engineer.
You're so lazy. And like, the kid just likes to eat.
It's like, we keep him around in case a bird dies.
Yeah, that's the only thing. He's down at the hospital just curing people.
Oh, that is one of the things that I like about this movie too, is that this movie thinks you're an idiot because he cures the one bird of death at the beginning of the movie, and just in case you forgot, we're gonna do that again later before he saves the pretty East Asian girl, like where it's like, hey, just in case they forgot, we should have him save another bird or something.
And that bird flies around and plops on his shoulder all the time, like you do.
Yeah.
Also, if you knew you could just resurrect people, you'd probably never hold back when you had a fit of rage. You're like, what's the worst that could happen? I bring him back to life after I kill him. That's not a good way to raise it.
It's the 5th time you've killed Donnie this week. He's getting on my nerves, buddy.
Well, did you guys see the comment that suggested this ending was rushed? I wonder what your take is on that, guys.
I believe it. Yeah. Oh, there's the star of our show right there. Look at that handsome boy back there.
Oh, yeah. Bronson just decides to make a cameo.
What a handsome young man. I think it does feel rushed to me. And I also think that when you have to go to Tibet and then immediately go directly back to East LA for the end of your movie, maybe you take another pass at that script.
I think they were just like, listen, we can't leave them in a foreign land. They'll be like, what are we doing? How did they get back? They're just like, no. They got back. They didn't live there forever.
Right.
They came back to the United States.
Thank God. My memory of the movie was that like the golden child was still in Tibet and they take Eddie there to rescue him, basically, instead of taking Eddie there to get the knife. I kind of didn't remember that that's why he went there. But I think that's the better movie.
Yeah.
I think you Indiana Jones this sucker, and you have to take Eddie Murphy to do the whole thing in Tibet or Nepal or wherever it was that they were. I keep thinking Tibet, though.
I mean,
none of these places exist, Bruce.
Okay.
That's horrid. I'm sorry. I'm fucking around.
But anyway, I think that's a little bit better movie. I don't think you need to bring the kid back to East LA. How about you let him stay where he probably would prefer to stay?
No,
it's what he knows is home.
To a foreign land away from his family and everything that he's ever known. Come on, that's how all of these things work.
You're the golden child. You're going to be running point for the Lakers someday.
All right, now if we had to recast this role with anybody, who do we got? Anybody in particular? I'm going to go ahead and I'll choose the easy route here because it was kind of mentioned and stuff. Was that like what would this movie have been like with Mel Gibson originally? I mean, obviously it wouldn't have been a comedy,
right?
Something would have been different, but I think that would have at least been interesting.
I'm going to suggest Tom Selleck. I think it would have been interesting to see Tom Selleck in this movie.
But here's the thing too. Tom Selleck also feels like a dad. So when he says, I want to take the kids' cases and stuff like that, he looks like a dad. Eddie Murphy don't look like he's nobody's dad.
I mean, that's where I thought of it. Is I thought of the three men that had a baby. Which one would be best in this role? Yeah. And I think it's not Ted Danson or Steve Guttenberg.
Steve Guttenberg in this role is a no-go. That's for sure.
I've seen how he plays a cop, and it's not as funny as he thinks it is.
I disagree, sir. Disagree.
The only thing that keeping that franchise alive was the Goot.
Hey, I'm the guy that argued Police Academy 3 was the best of the bunch, which no one in the world agrees with.
Really, no one.
No.
But the ending, I was so satisfied with the stop motion, I didn't even think about the fact that it's rushed. But I really liked a lot of this ending.
I don't. I think that I agree with MVD. I think that it feels very, very rushed and very, come on, let's all go home.
I like MVD. It sounds like a JCVD equivalent.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad. I'm sure he likes that too. Yeah, it's ultimately it does just feel, and a lot of Eddie's kind of improvs and stuff do feel like, like they tried once or twice when they probably should have tried 4 or 5 times to get a little something in there, because they're not as fresh and as good as they were in, in Trading Places and stuff like that. It doesn't feel like he's on point with all of his, ad-libbing and stuff, because he doesn't have a lot of good stuff to work with here to begin with, and he's got no partner to jive with either.
But the part that you're forgetting, Adam, is that this is still really new to a white audience. Like white America has not seen this before, and so when he's doing it, like you're lapping it up. I mean, I can remember being a kid and just being like, "Up there's Eddie again, being awesome, just being so awesome." And so, like now, in hindsight, 40 years later, after this movie comes out, yes, you can say to yourself, like, "Oh, he's kind of running out of some stuff here."
Yeah,
but I don't.
It does feel like he's grasping a couple times, just going like, "Is this good? It's good. It's good, right?"
But that's all just in hindsight, because at the time, like, it's just like, "Oh my God, I can't get enough of this stuff. Keep going, Mr. Murphy." That's how I was anyway.
I thought he showed some restraint in this. I was kind of impressed that it didn't go too far into Eddie being Eddie is the whole point of the movie. I thought there was a little restraint compared to some of the scenes in 48 Hours, which I didn't get to review with you guys, but I have seen.
Gentlemen, we got 5 Portress bucks coming in here from Alex.
Oh, go Pacers.
Alex says, "Go Pacers." I guess they had a good evening on their hands, maybe.
Hey, I hope Dan Issel's in the game.
I don't know what that means. I'm going to say that's a sportsman.
From, who probably hasn't played a game since 1982. So
no sportsman from 1982 coming in and playing. All right, fair enough.
I was watching the last game of the finals the other night.
And oops, wrong live stream.
No. I'm there with you, Alex. I'm there with you. I was watching the last game the other night, and after the Pacers were up by almost 30, I was like, you know what? I can stop watching now. And it was like the damn near into the third quarter. I'm going to guess the Pacers got this one, and it looks like they did. If you're yelling "Go Pacers" and they're playing tonight.
Very nice. All right, final review here and everything. Bruce, The Golden Child, 5 stars. What out of 5 stars? I'm not trying to influence you to do specifically 5 stars. You can do what you want.
I'm all over the place because I'm going to give this movie credit for being better than I expected, holding up pretty well from when I remembered it.
But my expectations were in the gutter.
Yeah, it's kind of weird like that, but I enjoyed this movie. I would watch this movie again. I would recommend this movie. So I got to give it at least 3.5. I can't go any lower than 3.5 stars, but I'm afraid to go 4.
If I go 4, they'll string me up.
3.5 dead birds. I need to pick something other than stars for every movie.
Sean?
I think that this is a just middle of the road 3. It's not something that you're going to hate if you rewatch it for the first time in a long time. You're just not going to love it like you did when I saw it as a kid. When I was a kid, I thought this movie was just as good as Beverly Hills Cop or 48 Hours or Trading Places. And it's just not that. It's like the tier below that. But it's also not something where you're like, I cannot believe I just wasted so much time watching this movie. So for me, it's a 3.
Yeah, it's gloriously an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, for the most part, the pacing does kind of like we keep going. Things are moving. Like there's always, it may not be the most entertaining thing in the entire world, but at least something is always happening.
I'd like to see a Peter Jackson cut.
And wheels running. A Peter Jackson cut?
About 4.5 hours, yeah.
Oh, yeah, just a little extended edition Golden Child. The things people were really looking for is like, what does the Golden Child do on his off time?
Yeah,
bring in David Lynch to direct the dream sequence when he's talking to Charles Dance and the live audience is applauding.
It's 86. Is he still on an Atari or is he graduated up to a Nintendo yet? Little things like that.
Right. And also because there's a lot more scenes and extended scenes, we just grab Eddie Murphy now and just have him keep playing the same role.
What's the difference? You won't really notice. Yeah,
you wouldn't notice.
Much. And what with technology and all, we can just, we just slide that.
I just want him to redo the fight scenes. Leave everything else the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go. My instincts say just 2.5 on this one. Like it's not atrocious. It was better than I expected it to be. To be honest, I think what was the because there was another one. We had so many like little kid movies where there was like the Golden Child. What was there like the Little Emperor or something like that? And there was another, I don't know.
Yeah, the Last Emperor.
Yeah.
I don't
The
know.
Last Emperor is
That's
not
what it
for
is.
kids. I'll tell you that right now. That movie is 4.5 hours long, and it starts with the Last Emperor slitting his wrists in the sink somewhere, trying to commit suicide. That is definitely not a little.
Come on,
kid's movie.
Johnny, let's go to the theater. Mommy, I don't like this. As well, you shouldn't. But yeah, it's just okay. I wish it were a little bit better, but at this, like we said, at this point, Eddie's not coming in and doing his stuff. He's doing someone else's work and just trying to, Eddie it up the best he possibly can. And he does fine enough for this movie. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that is it, everybody. We got another one under our belt here. We'd like to thank everybody up in the chat room and everything for sounding off, and our good old Portress Bucks here and everything from Alex. We really appreciate that. Sean, we got one more movie in our 80s Eddie Murphy movie marathon month, and this next one is a favorite of yours, yes?
It is, and I have not seen it since I was a kid, so this is one. This is the one I'm most nervous about. I think I've brought this up on the show before. I love Coming to America. It is the hardest I have ever laughed watching a movie. So I am very nervous to see this movie next week. I am certain that it holds up. I am certain there is nothing that through modern eyes makes you go, yikes. I'm sure there's nothing
problematic
like
at all. No.
I am certain that Arsenio Hall is just as funny as he was then to me now. And so for all of these reasons, I am very much looking forward to seeing Coming to America next week.
That's probably the Eddie Murphy movie I've seen the most. So I'm looking forward to it too.
Man,
I really thought you were going to do Beverly Hills Cop. I did.
I was saving Beverly Hills Cop 2 for Portress because I know what a Tony Scott fan he is. And we just ran out of time with Eddie Murphy in the 80s, apparently.
Hey, listen, but at the same time, too, like we got plenty of Eddie movies, and we may go beyond just specifically the 80s and stuff like that. But we'll certainly hit back at Eddie Murphy at some point in the future because he's Eddie Murphy and he's got a few films to pull from.
The next month will be Eddie is Too Many People month.
I mean, shit, we literally could have 1 month of Eddie in just the donkey role.
That is true.
I mean,
I think we do Norbit, the Clumps, Nutty Professor, all, and in Coming to America, he plays too many people. We will get to talk about Eddie plays too many people. All right, I'm back in.
And he does Coming to America, where he plays more roles as well.
Yeah, but I can't wait to talk about his white face as much as I did Dan Aykroyd's black face.
When you look it up, when you look to see what Eddie Murphy's most successful movies are, have you guys done that yet?
No, I mean, I imagine
I have not. I just thought they were all
stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was all Beverly Hills Cop. Those were like the highest grossing movies ever for a while.
So Beverly Hills Cop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth highest grossing movie Eddie Murphy's been in. Number 5.
So are the rest Shreks?
Yeah. The top 4 are all Shreks. It's Shrek 2, Shrek the Third, Shrek Forever After, and then the original Shrek. Then it's Beverly Hills Cop.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
Has he reached the point that like he's introduced as Donkey from Shrek when he comes onto a talk show or something like that?
I would imagine that his friends probably, like if he's going on like a friendly show or something like that, they definitely do that. I don't think that he puts up with any of that horse shit if he's going to some stranger's talk show. I can't imagine that he would put up with any of that.
Yeah, he didn't come on the David Spade show no matter how many times he was invited.
Exactly. So after Beverly Hills Cop, there's his next three like highest grossing movies after Beverly Hills Cop. Mulan.
Man.
Yeah.
I forgot about the dragon being Eddie Murphy.
Dr. Dolittle.
Wow, that movie made money. Because the first Dr. Dolittle those movies didn't tend to make money. So that
first
Robert Downey Jr. couldn't even bring money to Dr. Dolittle.
That first Dr. Dolittle with Eddie Murphy has made $294 million, sir.
It was a beloved children's film.
And then the last one on this list is Coming to America, with $288 million.
Man.
But I mean, what a crazy list. Like I had completely forgotten that Eddie Murphy was even in Dr. Dolittle. Never mind that it's one of his highest grossing movies.
I would have sworn those Flubber movies would have made more money than Dr. Dolittle, though. They felt like they penetrated society more than Dr. Dolittle did.
He's not in Flubber.
No, the Robin Williams is in Flubber.
No, I'm talking about the absent-minded professor, the nutty professor. Yeah, I apologize. I got my wires crossed on that. It's a remake of a Disney thing. The same guy.
I thought so too. I thought
he did the Jerry Lewis one, right? That's the one he remade was the Jerry Lewis professor movie.
Right.
Just mainly because of like the family, the clumps, and people quoted the Hercules, and all that so much. I would have sworn that would have out box officed. Is that a verb? I would have sworn that would have out box officed Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would have thought the same. I would have thought that the Nutty Professor would be like in the top 5.
Yeah, I would have as well. Because you couldn't get away from that movie. And again, they made 2 other movies with it and stuff like that, and it lampooned all to hell and back. So like it made its mark on history and everything for sure.
Yeah.
I was pretty confident Haunted Mansion didn't make the list.
Ooh, I walked out of that movie.
Well, you can't do it when you're falling. All right, let's get to the end here. Bruce, where can people find more of your work on the internet?
Just check out Werewolf Fighter. It's still there, still waiting for people to enjoy this award-winning 38-minute extended short that I made with my family.
Excellent. Sean?
Check out more HMP on YouTube, man. We've got shorts that Adam has made. We've got more video now. Poke around.
The TikToks are good too.
Yeah, see more of this. See more of this.
We got it. It's all for everybody. It's what people have been wanting, and you know what? After a while, you just have to deliver. You know what I'm saying?
And you can go to Anime Dad if you like chunky asses.
Yeah, exactly. That is it, everybody. Join us next week for the conclusion of our 80s Eddie Murphy movie marathon with Coming to America. For Sweet Sean's and Kovacs from the internet, Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Porters, reminding you to get out there and watch the movies, you dirty babies.
Now that I'm thinking